Hi, Davi here, and today we have an episode in the art review series, and today we'll be checking out the work of Rasetsu001. We'll just call this guy Rasetsu or her. I did mention this person, this artist before in passing in one of my videos. It wasn't an art review video, but yeah, very iconic. I love the figure, like anatomy. Well, the anatomy isn't like super tight or right. But just from this view, just looking at the thumbnails, you can tell that a lot of their characters are so dynamic. Like they're not boring. Obviously, there's no like background. Everything is just white in the back. But the characters, I'm not sure if they're fan art. I'm not really familiar with most of their characters here. Maybe it's fan art. I mean, I do know one of them. I think this is the Hero Academia chick, the one with the crazy smile. But that's it, right? This chick. So maybe it's gonna be. Maybe it is a mix of fan art and original art, but the point is it doesn't really matter because everything just seems so. I mean, the anatomy is not clearly there's something being pushed here, but it still works. Like I still feel the feelings like when I see these images. Right? I do love the look though, the crazy look, the crazy chick look, right? That's tsundere, right? Is it tsundere? And again, what's so cool when you see these kinds of artwork, like the anatomy isn't even like that perfect, but somehow it makes you want to look. First of all, the toes are so rendered, my guy. And if you look at their brushwork, there's actually not much texture brushes being used. It's like a basic round brush, maybe a bit of blending here and there, but it's not even that obvious. And again, when you're doing the face, you do have to be careful with it. Oftentimes there is some blending, but it's so soft. I'm not sure if it's like if they're using a soft brush or something, but you can see some slight gradients here and there, especially in the cheeks, right? Because in the cheeks, that's where most of the flat or round area is, or empty area is. Everywhere else, you do see those brush strokes, that back and forth kind of rendering technique. And it does get a bit more painterly. But also, going back here, you do see the ink work. It's not a very tight ink. It's like a very straightforward kind of ink work, but it's there. Sometimes it does blend in with the paint. Kind of like this one. This one is mostly done or mostly painted. It's hard to see the actual line work. In fact, I don't see any line work at all. So this one's more of the, I mean, look at her. Ugh, so hot. And yeah, if you look at the rendering technique, it looks like a gouache painting, right? Like you don't see a lot of like, you do see some blending here and there, but it's not so like, it's not like an oil painting a la Prima style where it's, where you see like the brush strokes being like pulled so much around the canvas. It's a bit tight. It's more orderly in a way, but again, hardly any textures involved. She's so hot. Oh no, right? Here you do see again some of that black ink in the border. You don't really see it within like the shapes. It's more of an outline kind of thing. But you'll notice the more you see those black lines, the less painted, the less rendered everything inside is. Like they don't go all the way because I guess that's the look they're going for. If they're going to add some ink anyway, then they're like black outline, then there's no reason to really push the rendering, right? I mean, there is some ink, but it's again, it's more on, oh, look at that, this effect. I think it's a blending brush or mixer brush being used. It's a very unusual way of doing it. It's not common to just drag it out like with a liquify tool or something, but I guess it works in a way. Usually they would kind of sketch the lines out to show the movement, but it's very interesting when you see artists use like the blending tool or the like, is it the liquify or something, or the smudge tool maybe in Photoshop. I'm not even sure if they're using a Clip Studio Paint or Photoshop here, but I do love these shots more where it's a bit close to the camera, right? Even if they're just standing, because of the way the camera is positioned, it looks even more dynamic. Like you're seeing this chick from the bottom, sorry, from the top bottom, right? It looks like the Kobani chick for some reason, the Chainsaw Man chick. Although I don't see the red hairpin, so maybe this is not her. But I do like the way the gloves are rendered, and you can see the line work. It's really just in the edges, and it's not like super tight. It's a bit jaggedy even, but I think it works with their style. Like the way the line work and their painting is done, it's pretty consistent. Like it has the jaggedy sort of playful look, right? This one looks a bit like Mahito, the face. I'm not sure if Mahito has green eyes though. But the hair definitely reminds me of Mahito. I am liking this balance. You do have to be a bit careful. Again, if you're gonna add some black ink or outlines, you can't overdo the coloring. I think this piece right here is a good example of a nice balance. Because it can be confusing, like, are you looking at a painting or are you looking at a inked piece? Now this one does lean a bit more on the painting side. If you look at the line work, it's not even black. Like, it goes along with the color of the paint that's near it. I've seen this technique used in like comic books, comic artwork, where I think they have to lock the transparency of the pixels. That's usually how they do it. Like for their ink layer, they'll lock the transparency of the ink layer, and then they'll start painting whatever color is right beside that line. That's the color they're roughly going to use for painting within that locked transparent pixel layer. Hopefully you got it. But yeah, this guy definitely likes focusing on women, on chicks, right? I do love like, you're just so playful and dynamic. It's not like a one-shot thing, like a basic shot. So even though it's really just focused on like one character at a time, there's always something to it. And that's what I like. Armpit. And even the rendering isn't always right per se, but it just makes you want to look. And I think that's something that it's sort of a mental block for me sometimes. Like, I want things to look right, but in reality, when you look at other people's artwork, their work isn't always right. It's just fun to look at. Oh, this one, I do see a little bit of ink, black ink, but the legs are mostly painted. Interesting. So let me just look at this a quick time lapse, so we'll see how this artist does it. Oh, straight with the ink, and then erasing as they go, which lines they don't like. Very interesting. Okay. So the line work does take a while to do. Oh, and so sorry. And then they do one final sort of line work, and then they render the flats first, and then they do the rendering. Wow. And then some soft sort of lighting in the end. Okay. So if you do see some gradients, it's usually added in the end. So I guess they do have kind of a system in place for this kind of thing, right? So the line work, the drawing phase, it feels like it takes more than half of the time, of the total time of the actual artwork. The rendering's kind of easy, I guess, because it's just the flats. Obviously the flats are going to be easier because you're just blocking out which part is which, and then the rendering maybe for the shadows, for the folds, and stuff like that. That may take some time. For example, this hair, it looks so complicated. And then the gradients in the end, or some soft brushes in the end, right? Even the shadow here is just simple. It's just like a lasso selection. The inside of the bag is also like a soft brush only. And again, if you look at the brush work, do you see textures? It's just like a plain basic brush. By the way, if my mic peaked recently, my bad, because I kind of heard it peaked. I'm not sure if you did, but yeah. Anyway, this one does have a bit of a blur in the hand here. I don't see it often in their work, but it works. To me, whenever people do this, I also feel bad because you kind of wasted, in a way, right? The drawing or the painting. Like, you're purposely hiding something you've already made. I don't know how I feel about that, but if it works for the final image, then it works. Look at that foreshortened hand. It's pretty hard to do this kind of thing, even simplifying it, right? It's so hot. I do like this look where the shorts are kind of unbuttoned. Wow. But somehow it doesn't fall off. Like, it's so tight that even if it's unbuttoned, it still kind of stays. Very sexy. Easy, let's focus. Oh, I know this chick. It's the Frieren sort of chick. She's one of the characters in the anime. She's kind of the crazy chick, right? That make me great. I'm not sure where she's from, but she's hot, right? If you look at the line work, there's not even that much line weight variety. It's pretty bold, it's pretty consistent. I think what really takes it away, because when you zoom out, it's the rendering. And even before that, it's the actual shot. It's just one white background and then the character fitting into that white space, right? Look at how the hands are a bit blocky, choppy, but it works. And yeah, sometimes the proportions are a bit pushed, but I don't mind. Because again, it's not about being right. It's about being, raunchy, wow, right? And they're always, it feels like they're always like caught in something. Like, you're doing something and then they're kind of, it's like an in the moment sort of shot. I think that's what makes it appealing. Like, it's not always, there's another artist called Wonbin Lee. I do like their work, but It's always like in standard shots. I mean, I love the rendering, I love the proportions style. When it comes to the shots though, I think Resetsu does something very different. Although the proportions are gonna be a bit wilder for Resetsu 001, it does end up looking a bit more playful. There's another guy called Futa something, Futa something, Futa. I think is a manga artist. He does have a YouTube channel too, but they have a similar vibe where the proportions are just, you know, pretty pushed. So here we have the flats. Look at the line work, fairly consistent, not much line weight variety. Maybe a little bit here as the knuckles kind of disappear. Very heavy on the shape design, and then from there, let's go to the rendering, right? It's pretty painterly too, the way it's rendered. It's not as clean. This one does have like a blur in the hand as well. Meow. Oh, I love the shot. I mean, what? Okay, stop. So here we have another kind of crazy chick, right? Interesting. Oh, I like the ponytail here, the braid, I guess. She has two in the back, okay. But I think when it comes to the style, I think this guy has it locked in. Like the process, you know, drawing it and then adding the flats and then rendering it. It's so consistent, and that's what I like about their work too, is it's not as random. So you do see, like, you do have, like, your expectations are set and they're met pretty much, like, always. Kind of. Again, with the unbuttoned shorts, very short shorts, the tongue out, perfecto. The background is pretty plain. All you see are, like, lines and shadow, but no textures at all. Even for the character. Pretty painted, pretty rendered, but there's no, like, texture brushes being used. And you can pretty much go far back into their portfolio or in their media tab here on Twitter or X. And the style pretty much is, I mean, you can see definitely some improvement as you reach to their earlier work. Oh, we have Makima here. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Hot. Although the colors here are a bit muted, usually they would really accentuate like her devilish eyes. I do think she is some kind of devil, I think. But yeah, so that's it for this art review of Resetsu. Some of you may have noticed I did drop off for a month. Things happened. And it was not totally in my control. Oh, let me just see the sketch here, right? So spend time doing this because it's really gonna reflect in your finished piece, right? Is it so tight? Is it so like super like Sakimi-chan level? No, but it's, you know, it's like it's there, right? Like it makes you want to touch. What? Okay, stop. So yeah, sorry guys for I did drop off for a month, but I'm back. If you haven't noticed, I do have like a podcast now set. I used to do it like directly on YouTube, but because I used to have a podcast outside of YouTube, and then I started doing some podcast episodes on YouTube. But thankfully, YouTube did add like an RSS feed feature where you can type in or paste in your RSS feed link, and you can dump or incorporate your podcast there. So I did do that, and because I was gonna do the podcast anyway outside of YouTube, but now that I know that you can paste the RSS feed, it's in the, like, what I post outside of YouTube ends up in YouTube as well. You can see it on Spotify or on Apple Podcast. The last episode I did, or the last one was January something 30th. So it's been a while since I've done a podcast like consistently. So I will be posting there as well. So if you're not interested, by the way, that's an audio only kind of episode. So if you're not interested, just skip it. If you're just more into the whole art review thing, just to make sure you follow this series instead and just ignore the podcast, because I just like doing it. It helps me stay consistent, and I think it's just, I don't know, I feel more productive. Like I end up doing more when I do my podcast, you know. Also the art sessions, it's been a while. Again, it's been a month. I only have like a couple 4 or 5 episodes, so I'm gonna get that started too. You know, today is like October 11th, right? So we're technically still in Inktober. I'm not sure if that's still a thing, but I want to do some black and white stuff, black and white sketches, and see where that goes. And I'm gonna do that in the art session series. So that's it for this art review, and that's it for the updates. So we're back with the YouTube channel. I'm sorry for being gone. Now I'm back, and yeah, I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.